Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hive Mind StarCraft 2 tournament. My name is Evolution Gaming Woodhouse, and I'm bringing you week number 3 of the winners bracket. Now we are down to our last 4 players in the winners bracket. And if you haven't watched any of the games leading up to this point, I would highly suggest doing so. There have been some great games played so far. Also make sure that you check out the losers bracket, which has, I believe, 4 matches this week. So there's a lot going on in the losers bracket. Sadly, the winners bracket is coming to a close. The winners of today's matches will move forward to play live at our LAN on April 14th. So not this week, but next week. So definitely make sure you're checking stuff out. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hive Mind as a whole. Go to facebook.com and find the MSU Hive Mind. And actually, without any further ado, let's just actually go ahead and jump right into this game. Spawning up here in the top left corner, we have our blue Terran, our top right corner, excuse me, we have our blue Terran, probably your Freekz. Spawning down here in the bottom left corner, we have our orange Zerg, spawning cross position from his opponent. We have Jleli. And now, I don't know how, if the music is too loud in this, and I'm sorry if it is. I actually just went back through and turned it back on for the terms of this cast, like having it actually in the background, so that there was something a little more than just my voice in here. You see Freekz just going to go ahead, both players actually just going to go ahead and do the standard-ish stuff. Jleli slightly ahead when it comes to all of that good stuff, and we do see maybe an early expand coming out of Jleli. Nope, looks like it's just going to be a drone scout. Jleli correctly sending his overlord over here to the close by ground position. Now, or I guess this is close by air, excuse me. Now, mind you, this is the MLG version of this map, so it is not close by ground, which would be up here. So you see the run distance here, but it is either close by air, which is this position, which Jleli is scouting with his overlord, and Freekz actually is scouting his position with that SCV first. But it is either the close by air or cross spawns. So again, we see Freekz not necessary to scout right here, but he's going to go ahead and do it anyway. Jleli going to find his opponent first, getting the initial read, seeing that that barracks is just about done. Almost losing that drone. We did see the first gas of Freekz go down as well. Freekz now coming in and does scout the hatchery from Jleli, and it is going to be probably a 15 pool, 15 hatch build. He does steal the extractor over here. I don't necessarily agree with this move so much against Terran, because I mean, let's be honest here, Terran can build Marines if they need to, and who doesn't love Marines? Jleli does get the cancel and the rebuild on that, so that is going to be very, very annoying for Freekz, having to deal with that before really he can take a second gas if he's going for something that's heavy in gas to begin with. Jleli now taking his first extractor in his main, and the factory going down for Freekz. So now actually at this point he is a little bit starving. Jleli does let that complete. I don't know if that was a misstep or if it was intentional. But the factory now going down for Freekz, as is the reactor. So at this point actually I'm thinking Freekz is probably going to go for some Hellion play. Getting that reactor first is definitely a clear indication that he's not going to be staying on bio right now anyway for very long. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. We do see a slight drone transfer from Jleli as he is just continuing, really at this point, just to power up drones, getting the initial set of scouting lings out. Now we do see another command center coming in now for Freekz, though. So Freekz looking to do possibly a Hellion expand, and it does look like that is going to get lifted off and moved over. So that is what it more than likely will be. It's just a Hellion expand build. And like I said, he wasn't going for that reactor for the Marine play, but more so for the Hellions. You do see the spine crawler coming out now for Jleli. Possibly feeling a little bit pressured. He knew... I actually do not know if Jleli saw... Did he see the factory go down? No, he did not. It was just out of his vision enough to where he didn't see that factory go down to begin with. Do you see the drone count now for Jleli getting to about where it needs to be on his main. Gonna get ready to do that for the natural as well. Moving that spine crawler into a better position, and also opting to try and wall off his natural entrance, which is a very, very smart move. We do see the command center for Freekz is just about done, and 4 Hellions are now out. He is going to go ahead and switch those back so he can go ahead and start into the Marine production. So yeah, just getting the initial 4 Hellions for the pressure to go clear up creep, put some pressure back on Jleli. As we do see a Roach Warren and the Wallen coming here, using the queen to wall it in as well as the Roach Warren. Does he have a third queen? He does. He actually has 3 queens out, which is a very, very smart move because he can use one of them to solely spread creep and one of them to solely larva inject, or in this case, go down and throw down a couple more creep tuners and bring one back for the larva inject. Now, the one side effect to that, though, is he did miss the larva inject on his hatchery as of now. He needs to get that in. Again, we just see him continuing to drone up. At this point, he feels very, very safe. And oh, we do have the Hellions coming in for Freekz. We do see the creep spread starting up. It's always kind of a nerve-wracking feeling seeing that creep come out of your opponent for the very first, the few minutes of the game. Creep just in general is very, very scary to see kind of walking its way across the map. One thing I would like to see out of Jleli, though, is connection of these bases by creep, just so that he has a very, very short, very, very quick run distance. Since Zerg units do get the advantage for being on creep and all that fun jazz. Did end up taking both geysers in his main and natural. The expansion for Freekz is now down, getting out a couple of siege tanks with siege mode to help defend that natural. Another set of barracks is coming out, 2 to be exact, and just continuing to pump out siege tanks as per usual. These Hellions literally just here to roast these creep tumors when they come out to the edge here. Looks like Freek's going to go ahead and try and do a little bit of the poking. Maybe, oh, he is going to be able to pick off these 2 Zerglings. Jleli looking like he is ready to expand, and Freekz not, losing the SCV. Jleli did lose his Overlord that was in the base of Freekz, though, to these 3 Marines. We do see a tech lab and continued Marine production now actually going down, and a starport coming out as well. We do also look back down here at Jleli's base. We do see a Spire coming out. Now, whether this is going to be the very, very slow push we've seen from Jleli in the past, or if this is going to be something quicker, maybe more so towards the line of Mutalisks, we're going to have to see all the way around. Combat Shield is now incoming for Freekz as well. And 3 Roaches coming over here to cover the expansion of Jleli. The small push from Freekz, getting ready to move in. Is he going to siege up? Yes, he does. Sieging the 1 tank to cover the rest of his push at this point. I don't know how I feel about this actually not having combat shield or stim at this point. I realize it is kind of a byproduct of the way Freek's build works, but I don't know if I necessarily like the timing of this push. We do see level 1 air weapons incoming as well as 9 Mutalisks, so it does look like Jleli is going to go for just some quick Mutalisks to expose the immobility of Terran. Freek's just going to go ahead and continue to slowly push his way in here. Now trying to get vision up the ramp so that he can go ahead and do the damage to those spine crawlers that he needs to do. And the first flock of mutas does pop out. So we are just going to go ahead and see some Mutalisk-ling action from Jleli at this point. The first initial push of Freekz taking out 1 spine crawler, doing a serious note of damage to the evolution chamber, which has not started upgrading level 2 melee attacks or level 1 carapace at this point. We do see the first little flight of Mutalisks is actually in the back of Freek's base. I did not see that go out, but going ahead and completely demolishing whatever was there. Freek's not able to get the missile turrets up at all. We did see the third command center come down for Freekz as well in that time. Right now, oh no, this could be devastating. This Mutas is going to go ahead and just engage. That is enough Mutalisks to essentially kill off whatever he needs to. Now that is a lot of Marines to run those Mutalisks through, losing one Muta, two Mutas. And it looks like 2 is all she wrote as far as what he was going to lose. The small push of Freekz still sitting out in front of the base trying to flex the military might of our Terran player. But we do see a bunch more Mutalisks coming out now. This is actually very, very scary because once you get to essentially a maximum number of Mutalisks, you don't really have to worry. Is he going to use these Mutalisks? Yes, he is. He's going to sandwich these siege tanks. Freekz with a little bit of the banter. Not knowing what exactly to do at this point. It's okay, Freekz. Blizzard is watching. Blizzard is watching. Now only if you had Phoenixes with upgrade. Again, at this point, it is hard for players to completely understand what to do. For Protoss, usually it's Blink Stalkers with Phoenix support, but that's a little expensive and time-consuming to get out. You almost have to expect to do it from the beginning. For Terran, on the other hand, most people would say Vikings or Thors, but as it's been proven, you know, they are effective, but not against this many Mutalisks. This is actually a lot of Mutas for this. Ringing the base into missile turrets, losing one Muta, being able to pick off one of those missile turrets, though. We do see the army from Jleli going to go ahead and just back up. We do see pathogen glands on the way for him as well out of the infestation pit, as well as 7 more Mutalisks and 2 more extractors up here at his third. At this point, the army of Jleli is just content to deny thirds, do things like that, do all of the good standard stuff that Zerg likes to do to both Protoss and Terran to make sure that they definitely get the upper hand. See another 2 evolution chambers on the way for Jleli at this point, and really right now Jleli has complete map control. He knows exactly what's going on all over the map. I mean, if you look down here, you see just a bunch of orange dots at the various expansions that Freekz could take. Eventually, what this is going to do is just starve Freekz out completely. We do see another orbital coming over here to try and take this base. Freekz is going to have to be careful because that Overlord is going to spot it. Looks like I missed something there, but that's okay. And we do see the army of Jleli going to go ahead and spot this expansion coming down. The Mutalisks coming in to harass it. Like I said, it's one thing I wasn't quite sure of coming out of Freekz is how the Hellion push would affect his timings otherwise. And it does look like, oh no, are we going to get to see? Yes, we do. There it is. We saw the complementary Terran hairdryer come out of that exploded command center as it disintegrates into the background. Freekz now at a supply deficit of 121 to 110, or 118 to 110. And Jleli actually ahead in that department, 146 to 118. 4 infestors now out on the field for Jleli. And the pneumatized carapace Overlord Transport. Let's just call it what it is. Overlord Transport now coming out for Jleli as well. The supply right now actually is still only about 10 supply in the favor of Jleli and Freekz. Again, buddy, I know we talked at some point about this, but I would like to see the reactor there so we could double medevac those. Or even double Viking at this point might not be that bad of an idea to try and counter those Mutas. Right now the Mutas are only sitting on a 1-0 upgrade, and the push from Freekz again coming in. We do see a macro hatch going down for Jleli. Still no creep spread connection there though, still no creep spread connection on this top part. We do see the army of Jleli coming in and completely demolishing, and Freekz getting a little flustered there. Ooh, and yeah, getting a little flustered. If we look back at this game, we actually do see that Jleli did a very good job of conserving his gas in the early game so that he could get out this ball of Mutalisks and Infestors. So that it is frustrating from most everybody's point of view. I mean, what do you do in this case? You know, there's a flock of Mutalisks running around. You're Your opponent can rebuild them. Mule's going to come in and just slowly start to pick apart this main base of Freekz right now. Going ahead and destroying that. Again, the Mutalisk Ball just doing what it does best. Freekz going to get the repair on those barracks. But at this point, literally, I don't know that there's anything else Freekz can do. He's been effectively shut off. We do see his natural is about to get mined out with the way over saturation of that mineral line. Gonna go ahead and drop down a couple more command centers at this point. We do see mutas patrolling the outside of the map to make sure that there's nothing there. The way is clear for this Overlord train, the Overlord dance party down here in the middle of the bottom middle of the map. And we do see another push from Freekz coming out as well. Nope, not able to pick off one of those mutas. Oh, and he does. The Thor shots do pick off one of those mutas. Freekz looking now like he is going to go the safe route and just go ahead and take this expansion. He does scan to see the army of Jleli just sitting out in the middle of nowhere. 1-1 upgrades on that now. 2-1 on those links. Oh, and leaving those tanks completely exposed, getting fungled, getting massacred from every side imaginable. This is not good for Freekz. But Jleli losing a lot of units in that exchange. That was not good for Jleli. If we go up here and look at the units lost tab, Jleli just darted ahead in the units and resources lost. But here come the Broodlords. Probably going to make, yes, and they do. They make final work out of these units from Freekz. The Thor's trying desperately to get some shots in, but we do see one of them self-destruct. We do see a mule getting down to come and repair. But surrounded by those Zerglings and Broodlings, the last Thor is going to go down, and the Broodlords do slowly make their way across the map. Going to pick off that last siege tank from Freekz. We do see now the units lost is starting to mount up. It's starting to become even in terms of resources lost. If we look back at production, 5 Marines in production, level 2 ground carapace, level 3 melee attacks, and 5 infestors in the way. And the slow push from the Broodlords has started. This is where I would have liked to have seen some Vikings out on the field, but it is probably too late for that. Expect a GG at any point. There's not a whole lot Freekz can do. He ran into essentially a brick wall that was Jleli's play. As we've seen time and time again, Jleli just slowly picking away at his opponent until it is too late, causing the opponent so much frustration. Jleli winning the war of attrition, taking out the 5 Marines that did come out. The one Broodlord did get taken down in that attack, though. And a whelp GG comes out of Freekz. So there we do see it. Freekz getting picked apart piece by piece by piece. And it wasn't his fault. Freekz played a very solid game that game, but just it wasn't enough to withstand the overwhelming tide that was Jleli. So with that, guys, that is game number 1, giving Jleli the 1-0 lead in this winner's bracket semi-final. So stay with me, and I will come back with game number 2.